Sure. Okay. All right. We are live, and if anyone is watching, hello. Hopefully you can let me know in the chat if you are watching. If you can hear us and see us, that would be fantastic. But we'll see how that goes. For those here, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jeremy Capone. I am the wellness chef for cancer rehab and survivorship, and I'm joined by the amazing Daniela Fiorini, registered dietitian.
Hello. I love how it's always amazing. Love that. Yes, Daniela Fiorini, registered dietitian. Welcome to everybody here and at home. And today we're actually with the Summer Solstice 1 day away or 2 days away?
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow? Okay.
I believe it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We thought it was the perfect time to delve into grilling techniques, safe grilling techniques that reduce cancer risk and also boost our enjoyment of barbecue season, right? So understanding how to grill safely can help reduce exposure to cancer-causing compounds. And these compounds that I'm talking about are called, they have really long names. So there's the heterocyclic amines, HCAs for short, and polycyclic aromatic carbons, hydrocarbons, PAHSs. Yeah, I know, that's so hard to say. And they are formed mostly with grilling meat, fish, and poultry over an open flame or on high heat. But there's good news because there are ways to make simple adjustments to how you prepare the food, whether with a marinade or pre-cooking. There's a number of methods that Jeremy's going to talk about that can reduce the exposure to these compounds, or reduce the formation of these compounds. And this will mean that you can enjoy your favorite foods without compromising your health. Another way to reduce exposure to cancer-causing substances is that grill vegetables, grill fruits, grill plant proteins. And that's another way to up your intake of fruits and vegetables and plant proteins, also reduce your intake of these cancer-causing compounds. But that's enough of that. I think we want to go ahead with our recipes that Jeremy has lovingly created. He always enters this creative vortex. You can't disturb him when he's in that vortex, and he creates these amazing recipes each time. So our first recipe is a grilled tofu and mushroom tacos with cilantro chimichurri. And this is a delicious dish. It's an excellent addition to any summer solstice celebration. Why did I do that with all the S's? We are grilling plant proteins, vegetable tofu, and vegetables, mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, I believe. So we don't need to worry about those harmful cancer-causing compounds. It's also bursting with flavor from the cilantro chimichurri. Show us how it's done, Jeremy.
Okay. So, with this one, I think we wanted to go with something more plant-based for the grill. Mm-hmm. You have options. When we're thinking of like some of the more savory, more meaty options, like texturally, mushrooms for sure comes to mind. Tofu can have a role there too. I know some people are on the fence with tofu. I think it works really well in place of meat for something like this, mm-hmm. especially for something like this, because it's in a taco. You have other flavors, you have other textures, other dressings, paired with the mushrooms, I think mm-hmm. texturally they work really well together. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about grilling as well, cooking outside, cooking outdoors, food safety, really important. But mm-hmm. I think even especially in the summer, right?
Yes.
So the first thing that we're going to do is preheat our grill. Now, we're in the basement. For those at home, if they don't know, we are not allowed to have a barbecue down here. So fire safety is, the fire warden has mentioned that numerous times. So we are using a grill. Indoor grill you can use as well, just a cast iron grill. You can even do this in just a pan if you don't have a grill. But we're going to preheat it to about medium heat. And then with our mushrooms and our tofu, we're going to dress them. Now the tofu itself, mm-hmm. because we're adding it to a grill, I don't want it to fall apart. So the firmer the tofu you can get, the better. Extra firm is probably going to be where you're going to see it labeled as your firmest, but depending on the brand, some tend to hold a little bit more water than others. So if there's one you're familiar with, use one that has a little bit less water because it will hold up a little better. You can even find they have these like smoked tofu cubes, which have a little bit more flavor, and a little bit firmer as well. But just try to get a very firm tofu for this. Okay, slice it up about the same size. It's about 1/2 inch-ish as our mushrooms. And we're going to go with more of like a dry sort of rub. So I have a little bit of garlic powder and some smoked paprika.
My favorite, smoked paprika.
Smoked paprika, if you've never used it before. Has anyone used it before? Here? Yeah, so okay, so you know.
They all know.
We're pros. If you're watching at home, let us know if you use smoked paprika. It has that really nice sort of smokiness that it can lend to your dishes. So even that's what you would get from maybe grilling. If you're grilling meats or barbecue, your traditional barbecue. But if you're not, that's a nice way to sort of replicate that sort of flavor, right? So smoked paprika, a little bit of garlic powder. You can add pretty much whatever you want to this. We'll add a little bit of salt, a little pinch of salt.
And I know we've talked about like grilling outside, but a lot of us do live in condos or apartments, so this is also good to know that you can get that flavor from doing it on the grill and then just going out on your balcony and pretending that you're at a barbecue.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And like I mentioned, they have these really nice sort of grill pans that you can use, but even a regular saute pan, you can bake this in the oven. You can put it in the broiler in the oven. All right, so season it up. We're going to put a little bit of a toss, a little bit of olive oil, just so we get this sort of like crust from those dried spices, adhering to the tofu, adhering to the mushrooms.
You know where I'm going.
Yeah, okay, so for those who don't know, Daniela
loves the remote.
Loves the remote here.
And I'm thinking, is this a close-up moment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Number 2, right?
Yes, so.
Oh, well, you just moved it. Okay, number 3.
Number 3, there we go. So we're going to add our mushrooms and our tofu to the grill. We can hear a sizzle, but I'm going to be picky. It's not preheating fast enough, so I'm going to change burners.
Oh, that's what you're going to do.
So this is more for the view, because I wanted you all to see it.
We can still see
But
it.
as long as you can see it up there.
Kind of hiding behind the herbs, though, a little bit.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, so we want about a couple minutes per side with that. Just to get some color and to heat them through. With the tofu, this type is pretty firm, so I'm not too worried about getting a lot of water at this point. But the mushrooms do contain a lot of water. It's mostly all water. So I want to reduce that a little bit. That will concentrate the flavor. So even like 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes per side, depending on your grill, just to get some nice color. The second part of the recipe is our chimichurri. Now, yes, it's a cilantro chimichurri, which may also be a little divisive in the room. Who likes cilantro here? Oh, wow, okay. So almost everyone. You can use parsley, you can use mint, you can use basil. There are other types of herbs, so definitely use your favorite. Roughly chopped, or if you prefer, you can do this in like a little blender or like a food processor as well. I like it done by hand, so a little more rustic. So roughly chop your herbs. I have some cilantro and some parsley in here. To this is a little bit different probably from the classic chimichurri, but I love...
Oh, sizzle.
Yeah, we got sizzle. We have sizzle. I love capers in this dressing because it's going to add a nice little bit of brininess to the chimichurri. And so you can get these at pretty much every grocery store. You can find capers now in a little glass jar. If you can use olives, you can use even like a little rough chop of basic pickles if you prefer that. But just that little vinegary, briny bite works really, really well.
So I'm sorry, I missed it. We have the parsley in there, the capers.
Cilantro as well.
Oh, and cilantro. I forgot. We had our cilantro debate. How did I miss that?
Yes.
I'm good with cilantro.
All right.
Are you good with
Capers?
Do you like cilantro, Nabil?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Okay. We're divided.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
audience is divided.
Yeah. I figured we might be on the fence here, but okay. Herbs, capers, vinegar. You can use any acids. You can use lemon juice. You can use rice wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar. This is white wine vinegar. The chimichurri that I'm making is going to be a little bit more on the acidic side. If you're not a big fan of the acid, then you can definitely tone that back a bit as well. You're really just making a dressing to your liking. And then olive oil. Actually, wait, before the olive oil, because you're staring me down, we need our garlic. Does anyone know what this is called? I know one of you knows. Microplane or a rasp, yes. So, great tool, makes it really, really easy. Now again, if I was just making this in a food processor, I could just chuck the whole clove in as is. But with the microplane, it's like a little mini grater. Makes really easy work of mincing our fresh garlic. And it just, even like these 2 cloves, it's gonna add just so much character.
How many of you know about the we don't have to worry about it with the chimichurri, but how many of you know about the 10-minute rule with garlic? Chopping garlic. Yeah?
And exposed to oxygen.
Beautiful, yes. So letting it sit for 10 minutes after you chop or cut it, very good, Nabil. By exposing it to the oxygen, the enzyme within develops an antioxidant, and then that antioxidant called allicin is not destroyed by heat if you were going to put the garlic in the heat, but we're not doing that today.
And that's the same with Chinese food?
Yes, it's the same with any food in the allium family. So shallots,
Leeks. All right, so lots of garlic, and then olive oil next. And we want this to be a little loose. So we want it to be like a dressing. So it might look like a lot of olive oil, but this is a dressing that you can use on many different types of things. It's really good with the grilled vegetables and meats because of that nice brightness that it brings to your dish. But you can add this to like a salad dressing. You can even put this over some cooked grains, like some cooked rice or couscous, and it'll keep a few days in the fridge. Gluten-free option. All right, so I'm happy with that.
For those who joined late, what we're grilling right now are portobello mushrooms and tofu.
Okay, so that is a really good consistency. So almost like a roughly chopped pesto kind of, but definitely a little bit more on the acidic side. A little pinch of salt and pepper, so you can season this. Now the capers will already be a little bit salty, so I don't need to add too much.
Has a beautiful fresh smell.
Yeah.
Can you smell it there?
Yeah.
Oh, already? Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's exactly what we're looking for with the chimichurri. Set that aside, and our tofu and mushrooms are done. So to plate, and again, we're gonna do it like a taco. And you can even do this as just like a side dish. Just toss all the tofu and the mushrooms together.
The side dish or even a salad. I suppose you could put the tofu and mushrooms on a salad as well.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Those are teeny tiny. Where
These
did
are
you find
minis.
those? Teeny tiny tacos.
Yeah. This is a perfect little size.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like this. Okay. So grill, so you can see here the color.
Yeah.
Two. I was waiting, director.
I know. My goodness. Beautiful.
So, I just want a little bit of color on there. And what's nice is because we're grilling plant-based ingredients, we can push it a little bit more with the color, right?
Yeah, we don't have to worry too much about the charring on our plant proteins or vegetables. It's not going to create those cancer-causing compounds, the heterocyclic amines or the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons.
Well done.
I'll forget after today. I'll just remember them as HCAs and PHs.
Slice this one.
Now they look like little chicken fingers.
Yeah.
No, not chicken fingers. French fries, actually.
Little French fries. So that is going to have that really nice sort of smokiness.
I can smell the smokiness already.
Yeah, a little bit of caramelization, and then just a good amount of that chimichurri on top. Again, really simple. Just the grilled ingredients.
And the great thing about tofu is that it actually is the closest to meats when it comes to the quality of the protein. It has all the essential amino acids, so it's a great choice.
So that's it.
I think you want to see us.
Sure.
Again. Okay. Beautiful.
That was our first. That was the first recipe.
Recipe 1
Grilled
done.
tofu, some mushrooms, a little plant-based option, something a little bit different. Any questions? First recipe. Any questions at home for those watching? Take that as a no. We can move on.
Actually, I have a question. I have a
Yes.
question for the audience here, but also for home. Is this something you think you'll try? Does it whet your appetite enough to try? So we're curious about that. Okay, so our second recipe, as Jeremy cleans up around me here, we'll go on to our second recipe.
Yes.
Yeah. So our second recipe is a summer barbecue chopped salad. Now this summer solstice salad is an embarrassment of riches. Just embarrassing because it's rich in flavor. I know. It's rich it was late last night when I was writing these. It's rich in flavor, it's rich in fiber, and several nutrients important for our health. It's also packed with protein because it contains chicken and black beans. Now, marinating animal proteins is, like the chicken in this recipe, is one way of significantly reducing the formation of those cancer-causing compounds during the grilling process. Another is to pre-cook the meat products, the chicken, the fish, ahead of time a little bit, either in a microwave or an oven. And grilling vegetables, as we talked about in the first recipe, does not produce the same compounds. So definitely go ahead and grill all the vegetables and fruits you want. But Jeremy now is going to show us how to reduce cancer-causing compounds through some tweaks in the grilling process.
Yes. Okay. So first thing is a marinade. Right? Marinades
Yeah.
are always great. You mentioned that already.
I mentioned a marinade. I don't think I said how long. Like
Okay.
it should be at least 30 minutes, right?
30 minutes minimum, and then you can do this overnight if you want in the refrigerator with meats and with vegetables. If it's fish, I would cap it at 30 minutes.
Okay.
I wouldn't go longer than that, especially if you have an acid component in your
It'll
dairy.
break apart.
Yeah, it starts with what we call like denaturing the proteins of the fish. But 30 minutes to overnight is always good. If you're using animal-based proteins, the longer you go, the better. So for our marinade, and I'll show you where you can make some changes and substitutions as well. We're going to highlight one of my favorite ingredients. You know this.
I'm this.
Big fan of this. You can find a couple different varieties. You may see it just very generally labeled as like Chinese black vinegar. It is a type of vinegar using usually like a fermented grain or rice and aged in clay pots. It is very aromatic. It is very flavorful. Very, we call it umami. So it has this really nice sort of like savory.
You know the word umami is going to come up at least once.
At least
during
once.
our demo.
That's what it means. Really, really nice. You can definitely find it like in Toronto, if you have like a Nations or a T&T close by, some grocery stores carry it as well. If you can't find it, you can definitely use a balsamic vinegar for this recipe. I mean, it's a marinade, so you can use any acid that you would like. Balsamic vinegar will be on the sweeter side, where this will be definitely more on that malty, that sort of malted grain side. So slight variation there. So that's what we're going to use as our acid.
How many of you have tried this type of vinegar? Yes. It's a few people.
Oh, okay, all right. So a couple tablespoons or so of vinegar. Depends on how much chicken you're marinating. We're using chicken thigh today. Now, again, I'll mention quickly as I do this. Chicken thigh, a little bit fattier. You can go chicken breast, which is a little bit leaner. If you're doing chicken thigh, like Tennille mentioned, the key here is to really try to limit the amount of flare-ups. And because chicken thigh is a little bit fattier, you will tend to get more flare-ups from the chicken thigh. So cooking it in the oven in advance, just until it's cooked through, and then you can finish it quickly on the grill if you want, or you can cook it on the grill in a method which we call indirect cooking. So if you have a barbecue, one side of your barbecue is on, the other side is off. You take your meat, your chicken, whatever it is, on the side that is off, and you can easily do this like on a baking tray or a pan that fits, and then close the lid. And that sort of like convection baking will prevent any contact from the flame.
From the flame.
Yeah,
Okay.
in that case. Sorry. Vinegar. That was my little tangent. Vinegar, hoisin sauce here, which is going to give us a little bit of, a little touch of that sweetness, a little touch of that savoriness again. And then we will use some, we'll take the brass garlic again, some more garlic.
More garlic.
More ginger.
I won't test the audience this time with garlic.
Yes. This is a, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to talk about the chicken stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the thighs and breast. And usually I say that the thighs are cheaper than the breast, but I learned yesterday that the cost of the thighs, chicken thighs, seems to be going up. Not sure why, but when it comes to protein, so yes, the chicken breast has less fat, especially when you remove the skin, than the thighs. But it's interesting to note that the protein content is about the same. So if we look at 100 grams serving, there's 26 grams of protein in the thighs and about 31 in the breast. So it's quite comparable from that perspective. Both are good quality proteins. Excellent for helping us maintain our muscle mass, which is so important during or after cancer treatment. It's so easy to lose our muscle mass. Also, as we get older, it's hard to preserve our muscle mass. So having the chicken is an excellent option to get good quality protein.
Absolutely. Okay, so garlic and ginger in the jar. I'm doing this in the jar because it's a little bit easier for me to mix everything together, but you can do this in a bowl and whisk it. I just don't want more things to wash afterwards. So I think you're going to take a big bite of that ginger.
No.
Do it.
Oddly enough, you think I would think of food, but I'm thinking of the spa. There must be a lot of ginger.
All right.
Maybe I need a spa day.
You were smelling bananas before.
I know bananas before,
ginger.
now ginger spa.
All right, I like it. So here's our marinade. Here's our dressing. It's done. It's in the jar. I can save this in the fridge for whenever I need to use it. Or use it right away. And we have some here that we did in advance. So this is some of those chicken thighs, just covered in that marinade, and then left in the fridge. And you can do this overnight, like we mentioned, or at least 30 minutes. Now I have some that are already done. They're cooking in the oven. Like I mentioned, you can do this in advance in the oven. If you are going to be using a grill, just a couple tips extra, because it's really the flame, that flare contact that we want to limit, right? Try to avoid as much as possible, but try to limit. A couple things. Watching your heat is, I think, really, really important. trying not to step away from the grill because that's usually when the big flare-ups happen. But also having something like this, which I learned years ago, and it's something that I always do, is have a spritz bottle at your grill station. Okay, and in that spritz bottle, you can just put water, or you can put water with lemons or a little bit of vinegar if you want to make it fancy and flavorful. But the idea is that anytime you have flare-ups from the flame, or the flames sort of get out of control, you use your spritz bottle and you tame it down. Okay, it's a lot easier than throwing an entire glass of water or your beverage over top of the grill. This does a much better job at that. So having a spritz bottle, and you can pick these up at the dollar store. You know, but it's just a really good tool, a really nice tool to have, and to keep control of the flame.
Also to keep away people sneaking food.
Yeah, exactly. You can use it on people as well. Yeah. Stay away from my grill, for sure. So that's really helpful. Like we mentioned, cooking indirectly, not directly over the flame, or cooking over something. So you see like planks of like cedar where you can cook like fish on top of. We've done recipes where we'll wrap the fish or chicken in something else, so like in cabbage or in like grape leaves or something where you're trying to protect it again from that flame contact as much as possible. So those are a few ways in which you can help.
I do have a cabbage sitting at home.
There you go.
I don't have a grill. So, spritz bottle, rasp I already have. Now I need to buy a grill. I'm all set.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so we've cooked our chicken. Mine is in the oven because we don't have a barbecue pot, whichever way you want to do it. And then to assemble. Now, we're doing this chop salad.
Yes.
So this idea of this chop salad is it's not like your typical salad. We want to really sort of maximize the satiation here that you don't typically get. Well, I want to feel full after. And salads tend to not do that all the time.
That's true.
So the idea of a chopped salad is we have some more filling ingredients in here to help with that. If you want to start off with your lettuce, you can definitely do that.
I don't know if I should bring that.
Mixed greens, do
there
this.
we go. Pretty.
A little bit. So, and you can do this in a big bowl, but we're just getting fancy with it. We'll just throw it on a plate. Just spread it out. Okay, so we've got some greens. I guess they're the traditional salad ingredient for sure. But now it's time to get serious. For a salad, I mean, you can really add whatever you want to this. You can add grilled vegetables, roasted peppers, summer solstice. We're starting to see in Ontario, it's such a small window. Our growing window for produce is so small. So this is when we get to start, get really excited with some of the Ontario produce. Strawberries, we're starting to see strawberries. Asparagus is had our time. People are starting to probably get sick of asparagus all the time, but asparagus is great too. Corn, which you can find, cucumbers, which we're doing a little more greenhouse stuff. But the idea is that we can add some more textures. Black beans, so not only textures, but some extra protein in here as well.
Textures and color.
And color, yeah. So,
and it looks like you've already grilled the corn.
So grilled the corn. Doesn't have to be grilled corn. Like again, if you're turning on the grill anyways, you can throw some of that veg on there as well. Zucchini, corn.
How do you grill your corn? Do you keep it in the
You could, and you know what?
leaves?
That is in the corn husk. That's a way you
Corn
can
husk.
sort of prevent it from over charring if you want, but I find it just messy taking it off after.
I like the char.
Yeah, so I just peel them, and I don't really add anything. If I'm cooking vegetables, I try not to add too much to it before it goes on the grill, because most of it falls off, and it can also, those ingredients, like even with oil, it will just burn faster, and you're gonna get like this bitter taste. I put a little bit of spice in the first recipe, but try not to go too over the top there, because if those burns, you're gonna get a little bit of bitterness to it as well. If you add the dressing after, or the seasoning after, I think it just adheres much better to your grilled vegetables. So if you're grilling vegetables, you have a dressing for it, instead of doing it before, you can even give it a dressing afterwards. So some corn, got some cucumbers in here, these are nicely sliced. cucumbers, throw the black beans, and again, really easy way. Take some tinned black beans, but already we're adding texture.
And we talked about the chicken being protein, but also the black beans are providing us with a lot of protein in the salad. And that'll help with the satiation you mentioned earlier, feeling fuller because of the protein, but also the fiber. So just a half cup of black beans can actually give you about 8 grams of protein, which is pretty good, similar to what you would find in an egg, and about 8 grams of fiber. And we need about at least 25 grams of fiber per day. So this would be one easy way to get closer to our goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm being very particular.
Can I
But
have
where the
to zoom in
strawberries-
because it's just so beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah, strawberries, they're great in salad, right? Again, playing with not only textures, but the flavors. We have like some sweet, some savory, which go really, really well together.
We also have power couples here. So we love our power couples. So the iron in the beans are not as easily absorbed as the iron, let's say, from the chicken. But when you pair it with a food that is high in vitamin C, like the strawberries in this recipe, you're able to absorb about 50% more of that iron from the beans. So it's nature's way of helping us out in maximizing our health.
Love it. Okay, so chicken. Now, because we have the hoisin in the dressing, and this is where, just to be aware of it, use the dressing, the hoisin will have a little bit of sugar, which will caramelize. So you'll get that sort of color on it, regardless, but not from actual flame contact. Couple pieces.
And so the color is probably a lot from the hoisin sauce
Yeah.
and the
marinade itself.
the marinade itself. See people straining there. Okay,
You're on it, director.
I'm on it. Ooh, I don't know if you can smell the chicken yet. Yeah.
All right, so chopping it up, slice it or chop it roughly.
An artist and a chef. Well, a chef is an artist, right?
Some may.
Gorgeous.
Just dress it. Now, I didn't really add any dressing to the salad, just because I have all these really, really nice flavors already. So we'll just keep it pretty simple. We'll just add just a little bit of that lemon on top. Continue with the bright flavors. If you want a little bit of olive oil, you can do that too. But otherwise, just a very simply dressed salad.
I think we should change the name of this to an artisanal.
Artisanal.
Yeah, artisanal
Okay.
barbecue chop salad.
I like the summer solstice
Yeah.
one as well. Well, there we go. There is our
Gorgeous.
summer barbecue chopped salad, highlighting our strawberries, our table strawberries. That's recipe number 2. Any questions at home? No questions at home. And quiet here too. Any questions here? No?
So the chicken thighs.
Yes.
You're gonna be skinless.
Oh, so good question.
Good question.
Yeah, is the chicken? Yeah, for those at home, the question was: are the chicken thighs skinless or with skin on? For this, again, depends on what you need. Obviously, skin on is going to be more calories, right? Skin on is, if you're cooking on the barbecue, is going to increase your chances of flare ups as well. So in this case, it is skinless and boneless, but yeah, it's it would work either way. It just depends on what you want to do.
It looks moist enough with the marinade. So
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Yeah,
I guess it's the thighs.
absolutely. Yeah, I think if you buy it with bone-in skin on, it tends to be a little bit cheaper. So you can leave it as is and just adjust your cooking time, because bone-in will just take a little bit longer to cook. Or you can just do the butcher yourself and easily remove it if you do want to remove it. But either or you can use. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Let's move.
Moving along. We're already in our last recipe. So what do we need in the summer? We need something to drink. We need to stay hydrated. So now we have a refreshing hibiscus lime iced tea. And this is a non-alcoholic drink. So, but it's not only delicious, but it's also a healthy choice. It's perfect for sipping all afternoon long, whether you're with friends at the cottage or you're enjoying some solo time on the backyard patio. It's a great way to stay well hydrated, as we talked about earlier, especially during the summer heat. And you don't have to have any worries about a hangover next day. And if you pair it with our first recipe, we go back into having one of our power couple situations, because this hibiscus tea with the lime is rich in vitamin C. That rich vitamin C paired with the plant protein, the tofu in our first recipe, you absorb more of the iron from the tofu in that first recipe.
Beautiful. Okay, we're ready?
We're ready.
So this is pretty simple, but it is really highlighting this hibiscus, or you may see it as sorrel as well. It's one of my favorite flavors. Very, very tart, very floral. You can smell it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I'm
already on the backyard patio.
Yeah, there you go.
Lots of sunscreen, though.
Lots of sunscreen.
Remember your sunscreen, your hat. Okay.
Little umbrella in your drink.
In the
as well.
drink and above.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So you can find hibiscus or sorrel. Some grocery stores will carry it. Bulk Barn will have it as well. Or if you go to Kensington, some Caribbean grocery stores, they'll have it for sure. And yeah, we're using it comes dried, the dried flour. And we're going to use it for a big pitcher for like 4 cups. We're going to use about half a cup of the hibiscus. Now, depending on how tart you want it, you can go more or less. You can also adjust afterwards with just diluting it more if it's too tart. Wow. So I like to go a little bit more. So half a cup inside. I'm going by eye. You can measure this out, but it looks good. All right, and then you can do this one of 2 ways. You can add boiling water from a kettle and let it steep for about 30 minutes or so. You can see the color already.
Yes, I was going to say, beautiful purplish violet color.
Yeah.
Summer color.
Yeah, really, really nice color. So, if you want to go with boiling water method, about 30 minutes of steeping, and then you would strain. Or you can use cold water and you can put it in the fridge. You can even do this overnight. Okay? So after it's done, you strain out the hibiscus itself and
Oh, wow.
yeah. Just
Almost looks like a sangria, but not.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It has that deep red and purpley color. And then here's where you would adjust with the level of tartness that you want, because it will be really, really tart. And then to that, we're going to add some lime juice, which I've already done, and then lots and lots of ice. And that's pretty much it. So if you want to add a bit of sweetness, you could definitely do that as well.
What about carbonation? Would it work well with a carbonated?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can do half and half if you want. I'm actually going to get some ice here.
Okay. And we talked about, staying hydrated. And we know definitely that staying hydrated is important for our GI function. But we also talked about it at our last demo. I think it was our last demo where we talked about cognition, brain cognition, and staying hydrated is also important for supporting our brain health, our cognition, also for reducing fatigue. So for those who have taken our Cooking for Vitality course, we talk a lot about hydration and its importance in reducing fatigue, and can also improve our mood. So go for it.
All right, so this is how We don't have the tiny umbrella, but
Mhm.
we'll make it work. So we have lots of ice.
Coming in for the close-up, okay?
This is super, super refreshing. Put a couple. So I've already put a bit of lime juice in there.
Some
And
nice big ice cubes.
Our maple syrup tin. No maple syrup, but full
Right.
of.
This glass is small, but I'm something I'm going to try. I saw a chef do it on TV, is using cupcake tins, putting slices of lemon and lime in the bottom, then filling it with water, then freezing that, and making that into these huge ice cubes.
Fancy.
And you're going to try that.
And the mint, always give your mint a little whack on the cutting board to, again, just get those oils coming out.
Summer.
And so there's our umbrella.
Summer.
Mint
Yes,
umbrella.
that's an umbrella. Yes, definitely.
But definitely, yeah, super refreshing. Oh, one thing I also added as well to this is just a little pinch of salt to the pitcher. And in terms of the flavors, it's going to help with the flavors. But in terms of just the quenching refreshness, I guess it might help with the hydration as well with a little bit of salt. But it really adds
Electrolytes.
Yeah. So there we go. Sorrel, lime juice, lots of ice, some water. But it's a great, refreshing little drink to beat the heat, stay
Yes.
hydrated, and dye all of your white clothes. Maybe don't wear white
I was wondering where you were going with that.
clothes. That is it.
That's it, yeah. We ran
We
through
did
that quickly today. I think we just want to maybe reinforce our key takeaways.
Mhm.
And so grilling meat at high temperatures is what produces the cancer-causing substances. Doesn't mean that grilling season is over. We talked about several ways that you can reduce the cancer-causing compounds using marinades, preheating, pre-cooking, partially pre-cooking, indirect heat. What else? Cooking at lower temperatures. I guess that also fits with the indirect heat.
Mhm.
Oh, I love the idea about the cabbage leaves or the grape leaves wrapped around the meat or the fish. I can already see it with the fish. And then, of course, grilling more plant proteins, grilling more fruits and vegetables, and then staying hydrated throughout the summer. I think that's everything, yeah.
All you need to enjoy the summer solstice, the rest of the summer, and outdoor cooking. I guess one maybe last thing I don't know if we touched on is just in terms of food safety,
Oh,
especially
yes.
because you're eating and enjoying food outdoors, is that sort of a danger zone, that temperature danger zone. So if you have food left out, you try to minimize the amount of time that it does spend out of the fridge or out of cooking and heat. And so that window is 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think the hotter it is outside, the shorter
The shorter
window
that period
gets.
of time is, yeah.
So
So it's like keep your hot foods hot and your cold foods cold.
bring a cooler if you're picnicking, and then that way you can sort of keep everything nice and chilled.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's your
That's
summer
it.
solstice class.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone
Welcome.
for joining us. Thanks everyone watching at
You're
home.
welcome. Yeah.
We're gonna eat the food. Sorry, but if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. All of our classes will be posted on our website and our YouTube channel. So the recipes should be up sometime tomorrow. You can check those out for everything that we did today. Also the videos from the classes if you didn't want to watch it. For some reason, we never watched it at home. That would be torture. You can watch it at home. And our next class, July 17th.
Yes.
Join us for our next class, July 17th. We have a special guest. We're doing a special class with our AYA group.
Adolescent and young adult group.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So stay tuned for that. And until next time,
Yes. Enjoy your summer.
enjoy your summer. Take care, everyone. Bye.
I'm clapping for myself. I'm clapping for Jeremy.